You arrive at the airport, you check in, you clear security, you find your gate, and you wait. But while you are sitting there with your coffee, an entire operation is already running across the airport. People you will never meet, doing jobs you will never see, making sure that aircraft is ready to carry you safely to your destination. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what that operation looks like. I am a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer. I have been part of that operation hundreds of times, before the sun came up, before the passengers arrived, before the doors opened. And here is what most passengers never realize. By the time you board that aircraft, the work is already done. Every check completed, every system verified, every signature on the document, ready before you arrive. The pre-flight operation does not start at the aircraft. It starts in the operations center hours before departure. The flight crew review the weather along the entire route. NOTAMs, notices to airmen, flagging anything that affects the flight. Airspace restrictions, runway closures, navigation aids out of service. Nothing is assumed to be clear. The fuel load is calculated, not just enough to reach the destination, enough to reach the destination. Divert to an alternate. Hold for 30 minutes and maintain a final reserve. The flight plan is filed with air traffic control. The captain reviews and signs it. The operation has begun, and the aircraft has not moved yet. While the flight crew are in the operations center, the cabin crew are already on board. Catering is loaded, galleys are checked, every meal accounted for. Safety equipment is verified. Life jackets, oxygen masks, emergency exits. The cabin is inspected zone by zone. Every seat, every seatbelt, every overhead locker. This is not a courtesy check. It is a safety inspection. If a life jacket is missing, it is replaced before departure. If an emergency exit light is unserviceable, it enters the defect system. The cabin crew are not just hosts, they are the last line of safety inside the cabin, and their pre-flight checks reflect that responsibility. Fueling is one of the most precisely calculated operations before departure. The fuel quantity is not estimated, it is calculated to the kilogram, based on the route, the payload, the weather, the alternates, a fuel plan that accounts for every contingency. The fuel is uplifted by a licensed fueler. The quantity is verified against the fuel plan. The fuel quality is checked. Density, temperature, contamination. The refuel panel is set. The quantity confirmed. The cap secured. A fuel receipt is signed. The aircraft now carries exactly the fuel it needs, not approximately, exactly. Every bag, every piece of cargo, every pallet has a weight assigned to it, and that weight determines where it goes in the aircraft. This is not logistics. This is physics. The load must be distributed so that the aircraft's center of gravity sits within approved limits for the entire flight. The load sheet is produced by the load controller. It assigns every item to a specific hold position. The total weight is calculated. The center of gravity is verified. If the load is wrong, the aircraft handles differently. In extreme cases, it cannot be controlled. The captain reviews and signs the load sheet. That signature confirms the aircraft is loaded within limits and accepts responsibility for the departure. While all of this is happening, a licensed aircraft maintenance engineer is conducting the pre-flight inspection. The technical log is reviewed first, every open defect, every deferred item, every MEL entry. The engineer knows the aircraft's status before touching it. Then the walkaround begins. Zone by zone, nose to tail, tires, landing gear, engine inlets, flight controls, fluid levels. Anything that was not there at the last check gets found now. On one morning walk-around, I found an insect inside a pitot probe. The aircraft had been parked overnight without pitot covers fitted. A small insect had entered the probe and built a partial blockage, invisible from the outside, undetectable without a torch and a close look. I removed it with fine tweezers and tested the pitot system. The system tested serviceable. The aircraft departed with a minor delay. Without that find, the crew would have had unreliable airspeed indication on departure. In 1996, Birgenair Flight 301 departed Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. Boeing 757, 189 people on board. Shortly after takeoff, the airspeed indications conflicted. The crew received confusing and contradictory speed information. The aircraft entered an aerodynamic stall. It crashed into the sea. There were no survivors. The investigation found a mud dauber wasp had built a nest inside the captain's pitot probe. The aircraft had been parked for 25 days without pitot covers. The blockage was not identified before departure. The pitot probe looked normal from the outside. The wasp nest was inside. Same failure mode as what I found on that morning walkaround. Different outcome, because the pre-flight check found it. This is not routine. This is the difference between departure and disaster. With the engineering pre-flight complete and the maintenance release signed, the flight crew enter the cockpit. The cockpit preparation sequence begins. Systems are powered up in a specific order. Each system checked against the normal checklist. Nothing from memory alone. Everything verified. The flight management system is programmed. Route, waypoints, alternates, performance data. Takeoff speeds calculated based on actual weight, runway, and weather. V1, VR, V2. The speeds that govern the most critical phase of every flight. Radio set. Transponder checked. Weather radar on. The aircraft is now alive. Ready to fly. Dispatch, catering, fueling, loading, engineering, cockpit preparation. 6 parallel operations, all completed before a single passenger boards, all documented, all signed, all legally binding. Every signature on every document is a legal statement. The fuel receipt, the load sheet, the maintenance release, the flight plan, each one certifying that a specific part of the operation meets the required standard. The system does not move forward until every signature is in place. No signature is no departure. The next time you sit at that gate with your coffee, the operation is already running. The engineer has walked the aircraft. The fuel is loaded, the bags are stowed, the cockpit is ready. Everything that needs to be done has been done by people you will never meet, doing jobs you will never see, ready before you arrive. Ready before you arrive? If you want to understand what's actually happening every time you fly, subscribe. See you in the next one.